Alright, welcome to the video. So I wanted to show you guys how I pack my bike into a cardboard box for flying on planes. I actually just arrived back in Perth and I've got the bike still in the box, so I'm going to unpack it and show you how I had it in there. So as far as the bike helmet's concerned, I always take that and carry on because I'm worried it's going to get damaged in checked baggage. This box, I just got it out the back of an REI. I actually just jumped in their skip bin and pulled it out. REI sells boxes as well, and they're about $10 each. You could pretty much get one from a bike store. Once I bought one from a bike store, an old one for $10. There's been a few times where I've gone to the back of bike stores and just grabbed one out of a skip. Whatever you can find really. Now you can see my road bike in there. That's the back wheel there. That's the front there, so I'll pull it out. So FYI, I'm hell lazy. I wouldn't recommend doing this with a bike you actually care a lot about. You know, if it's like a carbon bike, a nice road bike, just don't travel with it, you know. Pick up something cheap, something you don't have to worry about, preferably with a steel or an aluminium frame so you don't have to worry about it. It's just going to save you a lot of stress and headaches in the long run. I learned that the hard way. You know, I used to be like real particular about my bike, but now that I've traveled with it so much, I've realized how hard it is to keep a bike looking good when you're moving it around so much. That said though, these cardboard boxes are definitely the best way to transport them, because think about it, like you buy a new bike, it comes in one of these boxes, you know, they're made for it. They're gonna be packed up pretty good, but I mean still, you can do as good of a job as you want. And when you get to your destination, you can take the box apart and fold it right up, and you might be able to leave it at a hotel or at backpackers or something and come back in a few months. Or you can just ditch it and get another one when you need to leave. So, without further ado, I'll show you how I do this. Keep in mind that this is a lazy method. So we'll start with the seat. All I did was drop it right down, and then I just layered a couple of pieces of cardboard on top of it. I did that just because I figured, well, if something pokes through or lands on top of the box, that could cause the seat to be damaged. So I just wanted a bit of extra peace of mind with that. Down the back here is obviously probably the most important part to keep safe, is the derailleur. What I do is I shift the bike into the easiest gear so it's as far to the wheel as possible, as far to the left. Same with the front chainring. And, you know, a lot of people will tell you to take it off. It probably is better to take it off because if your bike gets bumped in a certain way, it can bend your derailleur. But I don't bother, too lazy for that, can't be bothered. So I've just put a bunch of cardboard around it, taped it all up, and between the derailleur and anything that moves, I've stuffed a bunch of paper as well. So I'll show you that as I take it off. Make sure you check though, if you do this method, check your derailleur hanger's not bent before you start riding. Otherwise you might shift your chain into your spokes. So I might just cut that. Kind of see how I had that sort of cushioning it a bit. I had this piece of cardboard on here just because if the chain bounced around it would rub on that chainstay. And you can see here I've just shoved a whole bunch of paper in there just to try and stop it from being able to get pushed in. And same down the bottom there. And on the other side for the skewer, I just put a bit of cardboard there as well, mainly to stop it from punching through the box. I've seen that happen before. Alright, so you can see I've got a cable tie there I need to remove to get that off. On the front here, just to protect the front chain ring and to stop the teeth from being exposed, I put another piece of card and just taped it around there. You know, just something's better than nothing, nothing too crazy. I've sort of bent it around the bottom, you might be able to see that. And same on the other side, so I'll pull all that off now. I try not to put the tape directly on the bike frame if I can help it, because this tape tends to leave a bit of residue. You can see that. It was wrapped right around. It's a bit of a pain, but if you can be bothered, you can actually reuse these cable ties. If you have a flat screwdriver or something like that, you can kind of poke them in, being careful not to stab yourself. And if you turn them on the right angle, which just like that. You should just be able to pull it out. Of course, on camera, it's going to look harder, just like that. Actually, what I think is awesome is reusable cable ties. I have one laying around here somewhere. Oh, yeah, there's one on the front here, I'll show you it. These ties are actually fantastic. So there's just a little button you can push on them. It's kind of hard to get the hang of it, but once you do, you can push that and just release the tie. It's a little difficult because that's so soft. These ties are great because then you can take them with you on your bike packing or bike touring journey. You never know when you're going to need a cable tie, and you can use them, you know, for multiple different things as you have issues or whatever things you need to tie up. So now I have that paper off. Looks good. On the front here, so on the forks, these are carbon forks, so I try and take a little bit more care. This is like some padded, I don't even actually know what this is, just some padded stuff that I had laying around. So I've used that right up the fork, sort of wrapped it around either side of them. That's just dust residue, that's nothing, it's not scratched or anything. And I've cable tied them on either side, so I'll pull those off now. Yeah, those reusable cable ties are seriously so good. I mean, obviously you can just cut them, but I've used these. This will be like the 5th time, I think, that I've used these set of cable ties. Should just be able to pull that off if I cut that off the bottom. So that on the bottom there is just an extra piece of cardboard I put on there for a bit more peace of mind, being carbon front forks. And I find these really good. It's just some kind of protection thing that pops up into the fork, front fork mounts, just for more peace of mind, hold your forks together nicely. I just got one from a bike store. I think it was actually in one of the boxes that I grabbed out of a bin once, and you could probably find these pretty easy. They're just some kind of packing thing. They're awesome though. Should be able to pull those off now. Just like that. That's the forks. A little dusty. Now on the hood up here, because it was a little bit exposed, I just put a bit of cardboard around it and taped it up, just thinking that the box could get bumped from the front or something could get poked through. I just taped it around there really quickly. A bit of tape on the hoods doesn't matter because it's going to rub off with your gloves pretty quickly, or with your just hands if you don't grab the gloves. Just like that. And now in the middle here, this was just a bit of extra protection. I've got the wheel sitting in a way that I'll show you in a minute, and that was just to stop, if it moved around, that was to stop the middle of the wheel where the skewer goes from hitting the frame. So I don't want to get scratched up. I should just be able to cut that off now. Pop that out one way or another. You can see that there. I took the skewer out, and that was just a bit of extra peace of mind. And this little piece on the other side, that was just protecting this other side of the wheel, mainly from making it protrude through the box, which I've seen happen quite a few times. Alright, now I'll flip the bike around and show you how I've got that wheel mounted on there. Now you're supposed to let the air in your tyres down when you take it on the plane. I haven't always done it. It doesn't seem to make any difference, but the airlines sometimes like you to. Sometimes they're a bit more tight about it than others. I didn't let it all out. I like to leave a little bit in, because that gives a bit of cushion and stops the rim from hitting the frame, or if you've got it tied up the way I do. So what I've done is I've actually just cable tied the rim straight to the frame, and I've had a few pieces of cardboard put in between it just for a bit of extra peace of mind. You got to make sure the wheel's not going to move, because you don't want it moving to a place where it can actually come in contact with the frame. So I've got it cable tied up on the bars here, which I'm not too worried about anyway. Cable tied to the frame here, and cable tied to the crank arm there. So I'm going to pull all those ties off now. And also for peace of mind, in case the wheel did move, I had a little bit of cardboard around the hood there. See if I can pull that off. Easy as that. That's one. There it is. Another one. So these pieces of cardboard come out like that. Looks good. Because obviously you want to make sure that it's the tyre that's making contact with the frame, not the actual rim, which is pretty easy to do. Because even if I push that really hard, it's still not making contact with the rim. I was a bit more relaxed up on the bars here because I didn't really care if the rim was contacting it. I mean, to be realistic, as long as you've got everything tight, even if you've got a bit of contact, you shouldn't end up with too much of a big scratched up mess, because it should just stay in the one position. I've made the mistake before of not tightening things up enough and things just move around. There. Let's see, how does it look? Good. Okay, yeah, that marked up a little bit there, but the rest looks really good. Now to stop the crank moving, cable tie around it, and to stop this wheel moving as well, cable tie around there. I just like that everything stays in its spot where I wanted it to be on the whole journey. I noticed things hadn't moved around too much, although the seat had been knocked a little bit one way, so I'm not sure what happened there. Also got a tie here just holding these bars in place, and I'll show you what I did with them in a minute. Now I'll show you guys what I did with these bars. So what I'll do is I'll loosen these 4 bolts on the stem, and then I will turn them downwards and hook them up under the frame. I also, depending on how big the box is, I'll move the bars either this way or this way to try and stop the bike from moving around, or to fit the bike. So I'm going to need to loosen them so I can turn that back out. Just like that. Alright, that's the bars. So I had a few spares in here, parts that I'd taken off the bike. Got the front skewer, little GPS mount, and the mirror. And I think I got bike pedals hanging around in my other bag. And here I had the pedals wrapped right up, mainly so they didn't dirty anything else in my bag or scratch anything up. Alright guys, little piece of advice for when you're putting your pedals on. You turn it towards the front of the bike to screw it in, and you turn it back towards the back of the bike to unscrew it, because obviously pedals have opposite threads. Same on both sides. Another little tip is I always write which side's the top on the box, and I write fragile on there as well. Even if it's already on there, I figure can't hurt. And I also put my name and email address on the box, on the top and on the sides, just in case something happens, it gets lost. It's identifiable, you know. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Hope you got something out of it. I know a lot of you guys are probably like, oh my god, I would never pack my bike like that. Nah, it is what it is. That's why I wouldn't recommend a good bike for traveling. You know, you want to pack it in a way that it's not going to get damaged for no reason, but then I think there's just an amount of acceptance where it's like, yeah, okay, this bike's going to get a little marked up on my travels, you know. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you've got any questions, give a thumbs up, and hit subscribe for more videos.